anywhere near a radio, you've certainly heard the voice of my next guest. Her hit single, Gloria, is on its way to the top of the charts. Here is Laura Branigan. Welcome, and thank you for being with us. You were just saying, where was that?
Yeah, that.
Don't you? Do you remember? Don't you remember doing that, or was it? I mean,
I do, but
I mean, do you perform? Have you performed a lot live? Is that the type of thing that you?
All summer.
Really, where were you this summer?
I was all over the country singing in the clubs because Gloria's real big.
You know,
just came out of the club.
When we were looking at the album, and it's a fabulous album, all down the line, every song. But the album was released in April, and suddenly we're in September. That suddenly it's the top of the charts. Why does it take so long, or why did you have that lag?
Well, it takes a while for a new artist to break in, and I think what happens is you release a song, and in order for the people to relate that song to the artist, it just takes time. It's like getting to know someone,
How did you find the song?
The song was originally an Italian hit 5 years ago, recorded by Umberto Tozzi, sold 30 million copies in Europe, and my producer, Jack White, and co-producer Greg Matheson were, well, actually, Greg worked on the song with Umberto, and Jack was his German, and he was in Europe while Gloria Fever was going on, and he brought the song to me, said, what do you think? And we
5 years ago, though?
No, just for this.
For this album. I mean, it was successful.
Yes.
5 years ago.
30 million copies.
That's quite a lot.
I'm up against Olivia Newton-John, Linda Ronstadt, Melissa Manchester, and Juice Newton.
No problem. No problem. No competition there at all. Now, being realistic, I would imagine in your quiet moments by yourself, you analyze these nominations and figure out, you come to the conclusion that you're going to win. You have to, right? and we wonder how you get to that conclusion.
To tell you the truth, I really try not to try. I try not to think about it. I have analyzed it, but it's so hard to analyze something like that. Just like it's hard to analyze when you hear a song for the first time. It's hard to analyze whether this song will be a hit. You can't tell what's going to happen. So I really don't want to get my hopes up too high, and I don't want to. I'm just very happy to be nominated.
That's something that's said very often, but I think that when people say it, they really mean it, because it means that you've been nominated out of how many records and albums,
Well, and also, this is my first, and, I'm new on the scene, and for me it's a great honor to be up with these vocalists that have been up there already.
Just a regular overnight sensation, huh?
No, not
new
exactly.
On the scene. Doesn't it kind of catch in your throat when you say that? Because I mean, realistically, I know that you couldn't have started last week.
No, I went through all the rejections, and I took the hard knocks and everything, and I got the right song finally.
Before you said it's hard to tell about whether a record is going to be real successful. Did you have a feeling about Gloria? Perhaps there was another tune on that album that you liked.
No, well, we really did have a feeling about Gloria. There was a magic that we felt in the studio when we recorded it, and I think when you have a hit song, it's sort of contradicting what I said, but when you have something special, you feel it. You feel that magic, and everyone's enthused. And if it's handled properly, it can go all the way if it's got it.
I was going to say, I'm sure there's some people in some record sessions that say, hey, giant, and then visit, of course, nothing, But it's worked out well for you, and people are calling it an anthem of some type. I don't know quite what that means unless it's played all the time in all the discos everywhere. I mean, what does that mean, that it's the anthem?
Well, the funny thing about Gloria is that she really came out of the clubs, and for a club record to cross over to pop is an unusual thing, and the reaction in the clubs was so strong. I mean, it's the kind of song that, and I think it's the song first, is that when it starts, everybody rushes to the floor.
Yeah.
Everybody, they can't help but move, and it's just got something special that makes people.
Dressed at last and accompanied by Atlantic Records president Ahmet Ertegun, Laura left for the Grammys.
The point, I think, that it's very important to have been nominated. I think all the people who were nominated deserve a great deal of credit for what they did to achieve that aspect of it.
While Laura pondered her chances in a limousine, fans who had spent most of the day pushing and shoving for a good view watched the stars arrive and, for the most part, enjoyed themselves.
Olivia.
A lot of things that are different about the way that your career has grown. One of them is that you've taken hits that were, well, they were hits in Europe, virtually unknown songs here. Gloria, for instance, and were able to put your own touches to them. How did you find Gloria, and then how did you find Solitaire?
Yeah. Gloria was an Italian song, and my producer Jack White is German, and had asked me, brought the song to me, and it was a big hit 5 years ago in Italy, and asked me how I liked it, and I really felt it had a certain magic, but I felt it needed the American.
You gave it the American.
Gloria, for instance, that had already been a hit in Italy 5 years earlier. When you recorded it then, what did you think at the time it might do?
When I first was introduced to the song, well, it's...
Here in the States, yeah.
I didn't know anything about the song. My producer Jack White brought me Gloria. He's German and was there when it was a hit in Italy. And so I felt the song had a special magic to it. And...
did you think it could do what it did? I mean, be number one in the charts for months and... When you haven't had the experience before, you really can't imagine what it's like to have a hit, especially a hit like Gloria turned out to be. I thought the song had a magic. I thought it needed more American kick. Right.
So we kicked it, and she went. It was a nice slow climb, which was very good for me as a new artist, because it allowed me to adjust to the pace and to, sink into the public eye slowly. Yes.
How are you dealing with all of it? I mean, to go from, singer trying to make it to bang star. How are you doing with that?
Fine.
You say that a little nervously.
No, you really have to keep your feet on the ground, and I think I've got mine there.
In 1982, her recording of Gloria sold more than 1 million copies. She's followed that with 2 more top 40 hits.
Every record company turned me down. They said, well, you don't fit in anywhere. And you get so discouraged. And you keep thinking, God, is it ever going to happen? And then came Gloria. Gloria, you're always on the run now. That record took the New York-born singer out of obscurity and right to the top of the pop charts.
A very beautiful and talented Miss Laura Branigan. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Peter.
Good. Welcome to Montreal.
Thank you.
Well, your fans were first introduced to you when you released Gloria.
That's right.
What were you doing before that?
Not too much in terms of recording. That was my first record, and I guess I was knocking on a lot of doors.
When you did release Gloria, it went #1 and stayed on the charts around the world for 10 months. Was it hard dealing with overnight success?
It wasn't really overnight success. What happened was Gloria took about 7 months to go to #1 in the States for me. Here it was faster. The Canadians are smarter. I really had to work very hard for that record. I went around to all the clubs. It didn't come easy. So it gave me a while to really solidify my image in the public eye and to get used to the pace. But, what happens before Gloria, no one knew me because I didn't have a record, so I worked real hard before that, too.
Business can be. Your first single, Gloria, went all the way to #1, and in fact, was nominated for a Grammy. How did you attain that much success? Obviously, it was a great song, and you have a great voice, but how did you happen to get... There's a lot of luck involved, too.
There's a lot of hard work involved. We worked that record very hard. I traveled around to all the dance clubs and performed there first. I'd sing to tracks, and because she really came out of the clubs. And it took 6 months to go to #1. That's a long time for a record.
Jeez, that is long.
So then it stayed the top 40 longer than any record since, what's the one big song, Tammy, by Debbie Reynolds.
And so it comes back to performing for an audience, singing for everything she's worth. Laura Branigan may well have a movie career ahead of her, but when you stack it up against her music, acting will always take back seat.
Singing is my life, really, and I want to act, but now it's as if I have a child. I can't let it go.
Gloria! Good night, everybody! Thank you! I love you!
Laura Branigan's first hit, Gloria, stayed on the charts for so long, it became one of the longest-running singles of the decade. Fans even called her Gloria.
When people say to you that you, and they did, and I'm sure they were saying it to you, that you were an overnight sensation with Gloria, it was a long time in coming, wasn't it?
Yes. I got rejected by every record company in the business. They all said I didn't sound like anyone, I didn't fit in anywhere. Which I think in the long run is good. It's what I want. The reason I really went after my career and my singing is because I felt I had the ability to touch people, and that's all I wanted to do with my music.
4 octavas arriba. A ver, ¿cuál es eso? Can you do that for me?
No.
No? Oh, okay.
When I sing Gloria.
¿Ah?
When I sing Gloria.
Ah, cuando cantes Gloria lo vas a hacer. Bueno. Which is the song you like best for you to sing? ¿Cuál es la canción que más te gusta cantar?
I love all the ballads, you know. I love Never in a Million Years.
Yeah, Never in a Million Years is
Power of Love.
Power of Love.
Anything that I can
and Gloria.
wrap my heart around. Gloria.
Gloria.
Yeah, Gloria always. It's my birth into the music business.
Now, you're a very young 25 and hurtled to stardom. Bit of a surprise for you then?
A shock. I really, you know, it was my first record. I had no idea what to expect. I had this huge voice, and I got a record contract.
You have got a big voice, haven't you?
And they just put me in the studio, and off I went.
It must have been very exciting when you came out with your first album called Branigan.
Right.
It was like 1982, 83.
Right.
I mean, here's a shy girl from a small town, and like, I remember the first time I saw you, I told you this was in the Macy's parade. Was that fun?
It was great. They put me up on a big rocking horse, and I had this little cassette attached to it that was Gloria, Gloria.
Yeah.
I didn't think anyone would know the song, and I was really, and you know what's also interesting is I'd never seen a parade from the inside out. And there's nothing like a parade in New York, you know, where people are there and everybody turns into a child.
And Macy's parade, I'm sure you saw it when you were a little girl on television.
Yeah, sure. I only saw it on TV, and I'd never been on a parade on the inside, and it was really quite an experience.
Now,
did you know, again, with that, did you know that was going to be a hit?
I had no idea. You know, you don't know when you've never done it before, and it was my first record, and when it happened, I didn't know what was happening. What they did is I went around and played all the clubs in America, all the, you know, the disco clubs. I'd sing in them, and when they knew the song, I was so surprised. I couldn't believe it.
Yes, but I mean, that's now yours. That's almost a signature.
Yeah.
That's yours. I mean,
it
someone
is.
plays that, that's Laura Branigan.
Yeah.
We've got some footage, actually, of
God!
from those few. Let's turn the clock back a few years. Have a look at this and see Laura in action back in the early 80s. The audience could see Laura was just sort of sliding off the chair. Why?
Well, I look very well fed, don't I? And it's funny. Don't you think I look funny?
No, you look terrific. Terrific and a good song. But interesting, we showed some old footage of Peter Allen, who was here the other day again, and he actually started in the studio doing a program called Bandstand. And we showed the same footage, and he does that as well. Oh, no.
I mean, I love Gloria, but I look funny.
Now, do you find, again, Peter Allen saying, whether it's Rio or I Still Call Australia Home, he's got to sing it every time because that's a signature. You've obviously got to sing it every time in the shows at the Hilton.
Yeah.
Do you mind?
I love it. I love it. There's no better climax to a show than Gloria. I mean, it's and I love it because the audience just goes crazy, and it's the perfect ending. No, I'm sure I would never ever not want to sing Gloria.
No.
Who was Gloria? Was she anybody? Gloria was, well, the song was originally an Italian song. Right. Recorded by Umberto Tozzi in Italy. It was a big hit. And my producer at the time was from Europe, brought me the song, and it was a love song, very soft, and we completely changed it, rewrote the lyrics, and gave it an American kick. I think Gloria wasn't anyone I knew, but it was representative of what was happening in the 80s when everyone was just going, wow! Yeah. I mean, my first hit was Gloria, and I came out of the gay clubs.
See, I wouldn't have described that as dance.
Yeah, right. It's more of a celebratory song, you know, that's the way people see it. But radio resisted Gloria for a long time. And then
probably had
the gays jumped onto it.
Played it backwards and upside down.
Yeah. Well, it was very European sounding.
She crashed the dance scene in 1982 thanks to someone named Gloria. But the name on her birth certificate reads Laura Branigan, that is.
Gloria was a girl, and all the girls who got caught up in the fast lane. People see it as such an uplifting, happy, danceable song, and yet the message is very serious.
Branigan's career skyrocketed when Gloria rose to number 2 and stayed on the charts for 36 weeks. The single was actually a remake of an Italian song from 1979.
It was originally Italian, and it was a love story. We rewrote the lyrics and, thought up a story about girls that I've seen, getting caught up in the fast lane.
You're always on the run now, running after somebody.
Never look back. I have to go forward. I'm grown up. I want to go that way.